What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This is going to be your review of Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 14. So we are down to 2 weeks. I don't know how they're going to break that down. I don't know if we're going to get like 2 or 3 more episodes, and then they're going to have a decision. Y'all know I'm new to this. Oh, shoot. Y'all know I'm new to this, so I'm not quite sure how that works. But we are at 2 weeks. Now, I'm just going to give y'all the information, and then I'm going to go through the couples because I got a lot to say about some people and not so much to say about others. So let's start at the beginning. We didn't see Paige or Chris this episode. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus. Why? Because we don't care no more. There's nothing left to be said. You're going to continue to drag this out and embarrass this woman and disrespect this woman on national TV. And so, thank you to the producers or whoever that said, listen, that's it. That's a wrap. That's done. Now, I don't know if they're coming back for the decision day or reunion situation or however that works out. But I wish, Paige, I wish you well. I hope you find exactly what you're looking for, baby. Chris, you can go to hell. Now, this episode was about I felt like it was about flashback and family connections, right? So all of the couples either went back to their childhood home or shared some sort of childhood memories. They showed old pictures and things like that. And they actually opened up and shared some stories about their childhood that would help their significant other, get to know them better. And all of that is great. Those are the kinds of things that you learn over time through conversation when you are dating. But of course, remember, this whole situation is on speed. So, the doctor had them do a letter to their younger self. And we'll talk a little bit about that because some people's letters were more memorable than others. But they went through that exercise. Okay, so these are the types of things that were going on in this episode. So let me start at the beginning, work my way back. Brian y'all know why I want to keep calling that boy Brian. Eric and Virginia. Do I want to start with, no, I'm going to start with Ryan and Claire. Why am I starting with Ryan and Claire? Because I'm about over y'all. I'm really about over it because here's my problem now. I said this a couple of episodes ago. Claire, your issue with this young man is that you're not getting none. You like him enough. You cool. But you want sex. And there's nothing wrong with that. You are married to this man. Y'all not dating. You're married to him. Whatever Ryan's issue is, at this point, it is ridiculous. And everybody has told him in the nicest way they can so that he can maintain his dignity. But at the end of the day, sir, come up off the dick. Come up off the dick. Either you are going to sit down with this woman and be honest with her about what your issue is. I don't know whether you're a virgin. I don't know if maybe you've had sex, but it's been horrible experiences because it was with the wrong person. Maybe you got a little dick. I don't know what the issue is. But you, at this point, it is unfair to Claire and this whole process for you to not be honest with her, because I'm not buying the whole we got to get to know each other. That's bullshit. Because here's why. Because you're cool with doing everything except for intercourse. You are cool with her getting you off. So this isn't about all of that. Because to me, you're cool with the intimacy. You're not cool with the final act for whatever your reason is. And again, I feel like you owe it to her to be honest about it. The doctor tried to say it as nice as possible. Hell, when you met with her mama, you was talking about you wanted children. How, Sway? How? You do know how that works, right? You know how you get children, right, Ryan? We found out that, Claire is a child. We went back to her childhood home. Her prom dress is still in plastic, hanging up in the closet. Her show choir dress is hanging up in the closet. Why? Why are we holding on to these things? Listen, I know I'm probably older than Claire by a few years, okay? But even when I was Claire's age, I promise you I didn't know what my prom dress was. Hell, I probably didn't know what my prom dress was 6 months after the prom. I'm not understanding why are your parents so... Listen, my daddy get mad. I have a box of books up in the attic at my parents' house. It is not bothering anybody. It is in the attic. Don't nobody even see it. I promise you, every about 4 or 5 months or so, my dad will be like, so you can get the rest of that stuff up out of here? It is a box of books that is not bothering anybody. I am not understanding the issue here, sir. So While your parents and or you are holding on to your prom dress and your show choir dress, man, what are we waiting for? I mean, are you going to pass it down to your daughter? Is she going to wear your... Anyway, we found out that Claire's mom didn't get religious until after Claire was born. And so that's giving Ryan some sort of false hope that once Claire has a baby, that she's going to maybe have this epiphany as well. That's not happening, Ryan. And here's the reality of the situation. I know that people say, oh, we have to be equally yoked and all these different things. And I'm not questioning the Bible. But what I am saying is it can work. That's going to bring me to Eric and Virginia in a minute. But hold on, let me get to them. But it can work. I grew up in a household like that. My mom took me and my siblings to church religiously. My dad didn't go. My mother didn't make my dad go. My dad came on special occasions. Okay, she didn't bother him. She let him sleep in on Sundays, whatever. But we went to church. And it wasn't an issue, right? So I think it can work. Now, again, that gets into Eric and Virginia. All right, so then we have Brianna and Vincent. Let me get into Brianna and Vincent for a second. Brianna, I told y'all that I was really liking them, and I still do. I still like Brianna, and I still like Brianna and Vincent. But this is what I need Brianna to understand. Brianna, you are a brat. You are a brat that is used to getting your way, and I need you to understand that is not how the real world works, and that you're going to have to come up off of some of that ideals and that rigid. And here's the thing. I understand Brianna because some of the things that she's holding on to are things that I did in past relationships. The problem is I did them when I was in my 20s. Like, Bri, I'm going to need you to slow it down and chill out. I used to do that. That whole, I want him to wake up when I wake up because I want us to have breakfast together and all of that. Listen, I will never forget, I used to get so mad at an ex-boyfriend because I felt like when I went to bed, it was time for him to go to bed. And he was like, I'm good. I was like, but no, I want you to go to bed when I go to bed. And he was like, but I'm not ready to go to bed. But it's time for us to go to bed. And like, I look back on that now and I cringe because I'm like, and I mean, we literally used to get in arguments about this, right? And I cringe because I was like, why was I tripping over what time this man was going to bed? He wasn't going nowhere. He was at my house. He wasn't leaving in the middle of the night. Why was I tripping? So I feel like that's some of what Brianna is dealing with. Like, she had an idea in her mind of what married life would be like. Oh, we're going to get up every morning together and we're going to make breakfast and we're going to sit at the table and we're going to smile at each other and we're going to talk about our day. And so it is not, him sleeping in late is not falling in line with this vision she had. I don't think she means to be a bitch about it. I think it's just not falling in line with this vision she had for what her married life was going to be. And again, Vincent said, listen, I'm tired. Yes, I like to be on my phone at night. That is how I unwind and that's how I relax. Me staying up later on my phone. First of all, you're not my mama. Like, because she told my son, well, if he put his phone away, then he can get up earlier. And they couldn't come up with a compromise. And I think the final compromise ended up being something like every other day or something. On A days, he'll get up, and on B days, he can sleep in. This is a grown man. He is a grown ass man. You don't get to dictate to him when he can sleep in and when he can't. So then we have, so we learned a little bit about their history. So Vincent takes her to the bodega, the bodega / restaurant / gas station. Listen, and they had an authentic meal from the Dominican, and he explained to her a little bit about his history, how he grew up poor. Family is important to him, which is why he wants children, and why he is the way he is about money. I think going back to last week when they were trying to do a budget, and he was like saving money, and why he works the way he works, and he hustles so hard. I don't know if she received any of what he said. She still sounded like she was putting off the kids thing, because she said, yeah, when we have babies, eventually. So again, it sounds like she's not really ready to commit to the idea of having children. Then you had the whole situation when they were talking to the doctor, and she was like, oh, well, we need to look into and do some research on how the high blood pressure would, how it would affect me or what have you. We need to do some research on that. And they also talked a little bit about surrogacy. So again, I'm okay. I mean, not that it matters to my opinion, but I'm okay with them being creative about it. But I do think it's important that if either Brianna is going to commit to children, or they need to make a decision about their marriage, because that's a deal breaker for a lot of people, and it should be. If you want children, that's not a small thing. That's a major decision that you want children, right? So, um, then we have, okay, now let's get into these last two couples, child. We done got them out. Oh, no, I'm sorry. One last thing with Brianna. She opened up to Vincent about, she took him to a dance studio, and she talked about how she grew up doing dance, but she sort of, even though she loved dance, she sort of let go of it because she knew it wasn't going to make her any money. And so she was good in math. She liked math, and so she went down the path of engineering because she knew she wanted to make money. Listen, I get it. I did the same thing. You know, I really loved teaching, but I was always told, you don't make any money teaching. And so I said, well, okay, well, I'll be a lawyer. I like history. I like the law. You know, I'm going to go to law school. And I didn't enjoy any of my pre-law classes. And as you can see, I ended up in education because that was just where my passion was. Now, that's not to say that if she had stuck with it, she'd have been traveling with, you know, the Alvin Ailey Dance Theater. That's not what I'm saying. But she could have kept it up as a great outlet for her. And she also talked about her struggles with her complexion and being a dark-skinned girl, and how that gave her a lot of insecurities when she was younger, and how she dealt with it. And so, again, I don't know if either one of them heard each other. I think it was good information that they shared, but because I don't know how much of that Vincent heard either. I mean, he was there. He was present in the moment, but I don't know how much of that sunk in of what she was telling him about. I always make the safe decisions. I always make the, you know, the good decisions. Anyway, but I think they're going to be okay. Like, I really think they're going to stay together, and I think they'll be okay, and they'll work it out. It seems to me that a lot of what they're dealing with are just things that you deal with in a relationship. And again, because this is a marriage on speed, they haven't had time to work a lot of it out. So, but I think they're both open to doing it. At least I hope. Brianna, I think she'll come around. She's just used to getting her way. She's just, listen, I think what we all need to remember in this process is that these people are single for a reason. These people were finding it hard to find a spouse for a reason, okay? There is a reason why they said, you know what, I give up. I'm going to let somebody else decide for me. I'm going to let somebody else figure this out. There's a reason why they throw their hands up and say, I give up. I can't do this, right? Okay. Now let's get to these last two couples. Eric and Virginia. So Eric takes Virginia to his family home, and he's telling her all about, you know, growing up and this and this and this and that. And child, she compared his medals, his military medals, to Boy Scouts. The look on his face was like, the Boy Scouts. Like, the look on his face was like, bitch, what? But then she started getting upset, and she started crying, and she said, you know, I really wish that you would put this much energy into meeting my family. She said, you know, I call your mom, I've kept in touch with your sister-in-law, you know, but you haven't talked to anybody in my family. Like, you don't even know their phone number. Like, you haven't even reached out to them in any way, shape, or form. And so he said, you know, I'm sorry, you're right. I've been so consumed with this, with us, and trying to make this work that I did not do that. And so we saw him call her dad. It was awkward. But he did make the effort. He did reach out and talk to her dad. And then he tried to talk to her dad about, listen, what I'm supposed to do with your daughter? Because there's a lot going on here, and we're just not on the same page, and I really need your help. On the flip side, Virginia called up to talk to the sister-in-law. Virginia is, listen, here's the thing. When they talk to the doctor, Virginia's point of view is all marriages don't have to look the same. Eric's point of view is, but I want a traditional marriage and what is expected of a traditional wife. Here's the problem. Neither one of them are wrong. The problem is they just not with somebody that feel the way they feel. I agree with Virginia when she says, listen, we took a vow to each other, and our marriage can look like whatever we want our marriage to look like. That is up to us to decide. There is no rule book that says that when you marry somebody, these are the rules. Now, the rules that she wants are things like I can get drunk with my friends every weekend and spend the night wherever the hell I pass out, and you shouldn't have a problem with it. And when you're in town, I don't, you don't take priority over my friends no matter what. Like, those are the rules that she wants. But to say that a marriage doesn't have to have a strict set of rules is not a bad, that's not wrong. That's not wrong. She's absolutely correct. The problem is he doesn't agree, so you need to find a man that feels that way. I have friends that are swingers. That works for them. That absolutely works for their marriage. That is their, and they've been married for years. I mean, I'm talking years. They've lasted longer than some quote unquote traditional marriages. But that was, they were on the same page, and they agreed, and they put certain rules and parameters in place, and they abide by them. I have another a friend who the wife works for the airlines. They are on a flight every time she got a day off. I don't know what kind of leave he got on his job, but they are always gone. Whatever her day off is, they are flying out. Okay, that is their marriage. That is what they decided they wanted their marriage to look like. Now, Eric, you want your marriage to be traditional. We go to work, we come home, we spend time together, we have babies, like, and it's nothing wrong with either one of their vision. The problem is they're with the wrong person. I don't think Virginia is ever going to be the wife that Eric wants. I just think that's what it boils down to. Virginia likes to go out and party and drink and hang out with her friends, and she doesn't see the problem with spending the night at a guy's house or spending the night at a girl's house. Here's the thing. You can have a girl's night out on a regular basis. I mean, do what you do, but you need to come home every night. And it shouldn't matter whether he's in town or out of town. You need to come home. So I just feel like they spinning their wheels because, she even was talking to the sister-in-law and trying to get the sister-in-law to understand what she was saying. And the sister-in-law was like, that's not going to work. Like, none of this is going to work. Last but not least, we have Jacob and we have Haley. So Haley takes Jacob to the batting cages. And Haley goes to the batting cages 5 days in a row to practice before she takes Jacob because she has to win. She has to win. So they're at the batting cages and she immediately is having an issue with what he has on because he has on, boots instead of tennis shoes. And I mean, who goes to the batting cages in tennis shoes? Him. I mean, that's what he's comfortable in. That's what he likes. That's what he wants. He's comfortable. That's what he does. Why does it bother you? Why is it an issue? They his damn shoes. He told her, I don't really like sneakers. Well, there's your answer. He doesn't like sneakers. She makes a big deal, of course, about beating him because she has to win. She has to beat him. So she shows him pictures from her childhood, and she starts telling stories about how, when she was a kid, her parents exposed her to all these different things and told her that she couldn't quit and she had to see things through to the end. But then on the flip side, she tells a story about her mother enrolled her in swim, and she refused to get in the pool. She just laid on her towel and sat out in the sun. And her mother put her in softball, but she refused to wear the helmet, and she refused to play. Oh, so you've been a brat your whole life. That's what you're telling me. And when he called her a diva, she had a nerve to get offended. Ma'am, what would you describe it as? You literally refused to do what was asked of you. And you, for whatever reason, I guess think that's okay. Ma'am, that's not okay. That's not how people, again, I don't know. That behavior is not acceptable. And it's clear that you are used to just getting your own way and seeing things from your own point of view. And whatever you want to do, you don't do it. Now, Jacob is over it. I feel like, I told y'all this 2 episodes ago, Jacob is showing up to film. He is fulfilling his contract, but he is checked out. He's not trying anymore. He doesn't care. He really doesn't. And honestly, I don't care. I don't have no problems with it. When he had to write this letter to his younger self, the letter was just like, yeah, bro, you good. Haley was like, that's it. He was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm doing it. I'm just here so I won't get fined. Like, that's all. Every time I see Jacob, that's how I feel. I'm just here so I won't get fined. So then they go to putt putt. And he's telling her, when I was a kid, this was something that we did. The putt putt was right next to, I want to say, he said it was right next to something they did every Sunday. So him, his brothers, and his mom, they would go to putt putt and, da 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 da. Oh, she started losing that putt putt and turned into a brat. I mean, got mad at him. Well, no, I mean, mind you, she was clowning him about the batting cage, clowning him about, go kart. But now that it's something that he's better at than you, now all of a sudden you got a problem with it, telling him that, oh no, you can't count that. Why are you counting that? Well, I guess you're just gonna win. This isn't fair. I was like, oh, you are a big old brat. So they get to talking about when they were doing their letters to their younger self. Oh, by the way, Claire's letter to her younger self was basically a love letter to Ryan. And Ryan's letter to his younger self was basically, like, you're perfect. Don't change anything. You're great. I'll see you in the future. Like, literally, that was his. Anyway. So after they were reading their letters to each other, Haley, of course, was trying to engage. And he's just not interested. Like, he is clearly disengaged from this whole process with Haley. He is so disengaged. So then he says, he's hesitant, and she was like, what? Just say it. She's like, there's nothing else you would tell your younger self? Like, there's nothing else? And I thought he was going, no, she said something about the wedding night, and I thought he was going to say, don't do it, right? He said, well, I guess I wouldn't buy that bracelet. She was like, the bracelet. And then they do this whole montage of how many times he's brought this bracelet up. Here's the thing. I understand her original explanation. The wedding, it was crazy. It didn't go with my dress. I thought it was a necklace, not a bracelet. If it was a bracelet, I might have put it on. Okay, cool. My mom had it. She took it back with her to Alabama because everything was crazy and I didn't want to lose it. All of that makes perfect sense. But here's the thing. The first time he brought that bracelet up is when you should have asked your mom to send it to you. Because clearly it was something he was concerned about. Clearly it was something he was interested in. And he wanted to know why you didn't have it. And she was like, well, I didn't think it was a big deal me wearing the bracelet. He was like, it's not about you wearing the bracelet. It's about you having it. It's about it being an option. It's about you appreciating it to the point of, wow, I have it here. My grandmother one time was wearing a scarf one time. I don't remember where we went, but she had this really beautiful scarf on, right? And throughout, we went to dinner or something. I don't remember what it was. She brought it up a couple of times about this scarf. And I was like, it is beautiful. Yes, absolutely. Oh, it looks really nice, Grandma. And then later on that night, we were out of town, so we were in the hotel later on that night, and she said, you bought me this scarf. I didn't remember buying that scarf. Like, I used to my grandmother that was my love thing. I love my grandmother. I didn't know I bought her the damn scarf, I bought her stuff, birthdays, Christmases, just because I didn't know. She said, it is always important. She said, I specifically packed a scarf so you would see me wearing it. I've worn it before, but you've never seen me wear it. She said, I wanted you to see me wear it because that's important. When somebody gives you something, it is important to let them know that what they gave you mattered. She said, even if you didn't like it, even if it's perfume and you don't like the smell of it, just leave it on your dresser. Make sure they see it. If it's a piece of clothing and you ain't too keen about it, you can wear it on a day that is not important. We just going out to get something to eat. We going to the bowling alley. My grandmother used to bowl. Going to the bowl. It could be something small. But it is important. And that is all Jacob was trying to say. Listen, if it's not your aesthetic, cool. But the fact that it's not even in your possession and you don't care that it's not in your possession is what hurts. And the doctor tried to get Haley to get it and understand it. And he said it. And then he brought up how much it costs, which in that moment, I ain't got no problem with that. I mean, generally, you really probably shouldn't bring up how much something costs. But in that moment, I understood 100% where he was coming from. So then she was like, well, you didn't wear my hat. He was like, okay, it was a $20 hat versus a $400. The bracelet went from $300 to $400 to $800, but I don't care how much it costs. It was like, a roll tie Alabama hat. And he could, whatever. I mean, he didn't wear it, but he wore all them damn clothes you bought him. Remember, you bought him all them clothes. He been wearing them every episode. He got one of them outfits you done gave him, child. So he ends up putting the hat on her dresser, very passive aggressive. And so she calls her mother and was like, "Can you just send it to me? Because I mean, he's making such a big deal." And now you got your mama in it because your mama only getting part of the story, but your mama looking crazy because now your mama's like, "Well, when you give a gift, that should be it. It shouldn't matter. And why you just, what is he? Why is he making such a big deal about it? I mean, fine, I will put it in the mail. I will bring it to you myself if I have to. Like, it is, you're missing the point." And she didn't relay the situation appropriately. And so now it seems like Jacob is making a big deal just because she's not wearing this bracelet, and that wasn't the point at all. Haley and Jacob, listen, Jacob can't get away from Haley fast enough. I don't know. I hope they try to find Jacob another match. I think Jacob is a good guy. He's a little awkward. He's a little quirky, but I don't think he's a bad guy. Anyway, that's it. That's all. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Peace.